Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are tearing into a massive stack of sources documenting just a remarkable body transformation.
It really is. It's a story from one of our listeners that just forces you to rethink, every stereotype about age and what's possible.
Absolutely. So our mission today is pretty laser focused. We're analyzing the exact blueprint used by a listener named Linda. She set this audacious goal, yeah, to become sensational at 60.
And we're going to get into the training, the nutrition, and maybe most importantly, the psychological side of it, all of which she had to deploy against some pretty intense skepticism.
Right. And skepticism is putting it mildly. We have to start with this one anecdote because it just perfectly frames the obstacle she was up against.
Oh yeah, this is something else. So Linda casually tells a friend, "I'm going to get ripped for my 60th birthday."
And the reaction, yeah,
Was visceral. The friend literally chokes on their coffee, spits it out, and then just an avalanche of laughter. Snickering from her family, from colleagues at work. And that dismissal, that scoffing, it wasn't just an insult. It became the social barrier she knew she had to break through. She realized right then, she couldn't count on anyone else for validation.
So she just went silent.
Exactly. She learned to stay quiet and just ruthlessly get on with the work.
That silence became her superpower.
Yeah.
And it's really important to clarify the timeline here because, well, that makes the whole thing even more stunning.
Yeah. The 12-week challenge we're looking at took place in the first quarter of 2023.
Winter into spring.
Mm.
But her 60th birthday wasn't until November of that year.
Right. So she wasn't just sensational at 60. She proved it was possible by being, definitively sensational at 59. She'd already done the work.
She won the argument before her birthday even arrived.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's start with the hard data, the numbers. Because the changes in that 12-week window are genuinely shocking for anyone, let alone someone about to turn 60.
They really speak volumes, don't they? Okay, so when she started the challenge, her weight was 145.5 pounds. By the time the 12 weeks were done, she was 127.4.
That's a huge drop.
Yeah.
But it's the body composition that tells the real story.
Always is. That's where the rubber meets the road. She started with a body fat percentage of 32.2%.
Upended.
At 24.6%. That's an 8 percentage point drop in body fat. I mean, that's not a diet. That is a complete reshaping of your body.
A radical transformation. And what's fascinating here is that the physical side of it was all driven by this psychological need to fight back against societal invisibility.
Yeah, she talks about that feeling of being invisible and unheard.
And that's such a powerful motivation. It's something that I think resonates with so many women when they reach midlife. She really spelled out the exact stereotypes she was fighting.
She did. You have to think about how media portrays women over 50. It's all, beige cardigans, comfy velour pants.
Ads for incontinence pads or like funeral insurance.
Exactly. Or aged care homes. The message is basically your active physical life is over. And Linda's internal response to that was to say no.
She decided she could change her external image by literally swapping soft, lumpy flesh for firm, streamlined muscle.
It wasn't about vanity. It was about reclaiming power, agency, visibility in a world that was basically trying to write her off.
And this commitment didn't just end in some private victory for her. It led to, overwhelming competitive success.
It really did. She won first place in her challenge category. She won the Most Transformed Body After Age 50 award.
But the real headline, the one that really defeated the stereotype, was winning the new muscle and physique division.
Which was open to women of all ages.
Of all ages. She wasn't just competing against people her age. She was competing against everyone.
It was a statement, proof. She didn't just meet her goal. She basically set a new standard for what's possible.
So the why was there, the results are undeniable. But how did she even start? How did she find the path? It wasn't some huge, complex decision, was it?
No, not at all. It's funny, actually. She was just cleaning her house, listening to a podcast, a lot like you are right now. And the guest was this fitness expert, Tom Venuto.
And that was it. That one conversation.
That was the spark, that single piece of content. She realized she'd found a trusted pathway.
And that's the beauty of leveraging good resources.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Not at all. And her next steps were so smart, so crucial. First, she downloaded and just devoured the book, Burn the Fat, Feed the Muscle.
Okay, so she got the knowledge base.
Then she joined the online community, the Burn the Fat Inner Circle. And right after that, she entered their New Year Body Transformation Challenge. That challenge gave her the fixed timeline. It made the big goal feel tangible.
That structure is so critical for turning inspiration into action. But, knowledge isn't always enough. She needed accountability.
And she actively sought it out. She joined a team within the challenge called Team Global Warriors, specifically so she wouldn't be walking that path alone.
Having a crew makes all the difference.
A huge takeaway for anyone listening. Knowing she had teammates, Mandy, Carrie, Rick, and Dave, it just created this environment where giving up wasn't an option. When you know people are counting on you, your own excuses just lose their power.
And the notes say it all. Accountability helped her stick to her plan 100%. She never wavered. Not once.
Perfect adherence. Which brings us to the blueprint itself. What did she actually do? How did she eat? And how did she train?
Let's start with the nutrition, because that was really the engine for all this fat loss.
It was. And it was all anchored in Venuto's approach. High protein, measured calorie deficit. But for Linda, this was a huge learning curve. She had to meticulously calculate her target calories, her macros, carbs, protein, fat. It was like learning a whole new language.
Wait, let's stop there. The high protein part. For a listener who's maybe 50 or 60 and just starting to lift weights, why is that so non-negotiable? Why couldn't she just cut calories across the board?
That is the critical question for this age group. As we get older, we face something called sarcopenia. It's the natural loss of muscle mass.
Right.
So when you're in a calorie deficit, your body is looking for fuel anywhere it can find it. And without enough protein, it will happily just eat your existing muscle, even if you are lifting weights.
So protein is like a shield for your muscle.
It's muscle insurance, exactly. By keeping her protein intake high, she guaranteed two things. One, she felt fuller, which makes the deficit way more manageable. And two, she ensured that the weight she was losing was overwhelmingly fat while she was preserving or even building lean muscle. It's the complete opposite of a crash diet.
That makes perfect sense. So how did she apply this? She started with a tracking app, right? Fat Secret?
Yeah, which is common, but here's where you see that mental efficiency she has.
She didn't stick with it for long.
Just 1 week. After only 1 week of tracking everything, she adapted so quickly that she could accurately count her calories and macros just by looking at the food. By sight.
That's a skill. That's a cognitive leap. She didn't need the app as a crutch. The data was just running in her head.
And she got used to eating, as she put it, sauceless, nutrient-dense food. I mean, going from a normal diet to that kind of controlled plan, that discipline is something else.
Most people would quit on day 3.
Probably. It requires a total reevaluation of what food is for. Flavor takes a backseat to fuel.
So what did a typical day of eating look like for her?
It was designed for maximum efficiency and satiety. Breakfast was always the same. Greek yogurt, protein powder, chia seeds, and some blueberries.
Simple, effective.
Yes, but with flexibility. On days she was going for a long bike ride, she'd add rolled oats. She knew she needed the carbs for fuel. She wasn't just blindly cutting them.
Smart. And lunch.
Lunch was usually one of two things: either a wrap with 1 egg, 3 egg whites, leftovers, turkey, and mozzarella, or some rice with leftover greens, another egg, and a can of tuna.
Protein is the anchor in every single meal. I'm seeing a pattern here.
Always. Dinner was the same structure: a lean protein steak, fish, chicken with a starchy vegetable like potato or pumpkin, and a ton of greens like broccoli or spinach.
Even her snack before bed was strategic.
Oh, yeah, the planned treat: Earl Grey tea and 2 small homemade protein balls, chocolate peanut butter ones. It was a controlled indulgence, not a cheat meal.
Okay, but this next detail about her nutrition, this is what I think shows her real mental fortitude.
This is the mind game. So Linda would often feel a bit peckish late at night. That's the witching hour for most dieters, right? That's when you break.
Yeah, sure.
But instead of fighting the hunger, she did something remarkable. She trained her brain to actually enjoy that feeling of slight emptiness.
How do you even do that? How do you train your brain to enjoy being hungry?
It's cognitive reframing. It's about changing the emotional meaning of a physical feeling. Instead of that hunger meaning deprivation or I'm failing, she made it mean progress.
So the hunger became a positive signal.
Exactly. She associated that feeling with I am burning fat right now, I am succeeding. She turned a negative physical cue into a positive psychological win every single night.
That's a power move. Okay, let's switch to the training side. Resistance training was 4 days a week, using Tom Venuto's 3-day split.
Right. A 3-day split is super systematic. You divide your body into 3 main workouts like push, pull, and legs.
And you cycle through them.
Yeah, you cycle through them 4 times a week. It means you're hitting every muscle group often, but you're also getting critical rest and recovery time. And when you're in a deficit, recovery is everything.
So it's about maximizing efficiency and minimizing injury risk, which is vital when you're pushing your limits.
But even with a great plan, she hit a snag almost immediately.
The elbow injury on day 2.
Day 2 of the whole challenge, she strained her elbow. And for most people, that's it. That's the excuse to stop.
But not for her.
No, her reaction was pure adaptability. She didn't quit. She just backed off the weight for her arm exercises for about 5 weeks. And more importantly, she used it as an opportunity
To focus on other things.
to focus extra hard on her legs and abs. See, that's the difference between having a goal and having a commitment. The goal is the outcome. The commitment is how you deal with the stuff that goes wrong along the way.
So did she just switch to different machines for her arms, or what was the workaround?
Yeah, she leaned into machines and exercises that stabilized the joint. So instead of heavy free weights, she might use lighter dumbbells, cables, or machines with a fixed path of motion.
Ah, so it was about maintenance for the injured part, not progress.
Exactly. Maintain the arms, but aggressively chase progress everywhere else. She didn't let one weak link break the whole chain.
And for cardio, she was a cyclist.
Yeah, she rode her bike twice a week, covering 50 to 70 kilometers each time. She even thought about adding more cardio, but decided against it.
Why?
Because the results were already coming. If the needle is moving, adding more stress just increases your risk of burnout. She understood the minimal effective dose.
Which brings us to the core of this whole thing, really.
Hmm.
Linda herself called her mental strength her ace card.
The plan was solid, but the execution was 100% mindset.
It's about managing that internal voice, isn't it? The one that's always making excuses.
She recognized it with clinical precision, how easily our brains create these little stories. I had a stressful day, I'm just a little hungry, that lead us off track. For her, once the plan was set, things like cheat meals or skipping the gym were just not an option.
That level of commitment is something few people ever really find.
It is.
I do wonder, though, the source material says she had this realization that she was not cut from the same cloth as most others. Doesn't that sound a little arrogant?
That's a fair question, but I don't read it as arrogance. I think it's more like astonishment at her own capacity.
Okay.
She wasn't judging other people. She was comparing the new 100% committed version of herself to all her previous attempts. She had this moment of clarity walking a river trail one morning. It just dawned on her that she had mental strength by the bucket load, a trait she never even knew she possessed.
So it's the shock of discovering your own hidden potential.
Yes. The self-efficacy that comes from sticking to a plan 100% is profound. And the impact went way beyond the physical. She says she now feels strong, powerful, like a role model.
And this is the unexpected bonus. Her passion for writing came back.
It did. It had been dormant for years, buried under raising kids and working full-time. But the discipline she built in the gym just spilled over into her creative and intellectual life.
There's a total life transformation. Proof that physical strength can unlock so much more. She hit sensational at 59, but she's not stopping there, is she?
Not at all. She's not resting on her laurels. She's already on to the next phase.
What's she doing now?
Right now, she's in the middle of the Burn the Fat Million Step Challenge. It's a brilliant way to maintain her results and stay active while she transitions to a new goal.
And the next goal is the summer challenge.
Yep, but with a totally different objective. Now she wants to build more muscle, which she calls the icing on my cake. She gets that maintenance requires a new active goal.
What a story. You know, this whole deep dive, it reveals this powerful, previously unknown trait, this incredible mental fortitude that was just buried for decades under the routine of life.
She didn't know she had it until she committed 100% to this radical, non-negotiable plan.
And it really raises an important question for you, the listener, as you think about your own goals.
Right. What hidden trait, whether it's discipline or endurance or maybe creative problem solving, what might be revealed in you if you set a 100% committed, non-negotiable plan that pushes you way outside your current comfort zone?
Something to mull over until our next deep dive.